Hi, my name is Joe Horn. I am co-founder and co-CEO of Maine Outdoor School. For this practicum, as well as all my other studies here at Antioch, I focused on Maine Outdoor School. Specifically for this practicum, it was on how best we can model our mission. So the overall purpose of our research is that 6 years ago, my partner Hazel and I had this wonderful vision of creating a handmade life for ourselves and being able to teach others to do the same. A lot has changed between then and now as far as our trajectory, but we always knew more or less where we wanted to go. We just weren't really sure how to get there. We knew that some of those paths that could maybe get us there, they might lead us entirely away from our goal. And maybe that's okay. We weren't really sure at the time, but we didn't want to find ourselves in a position of regretting that decision down the road. We knew that others might just have us charging straight up towards our goal. But we were worried that getting down the way a little bit, we might find some unforeseen obstacle. In the case of this illustration, a snowfield that can't get past. Still others, and perhaps most intimidating, would be finding ourselves on a false summit. Having an organization that works, that's doing its job, that's fulfilling its mission, but is it really operating in peak performance? I don't know. This past fall, in our leadership class, we were taught to be aware of gaps between our espoused values and our behaviors. That really stuck out to me. In my time, my professional life, educating at different outdoor education facilities across the country, I noticed that though the mission was solid in many of these organizations, the way that the organizations did business was not necessarily aligned with their mission. Realized that in order to really see Maine Outdoor School fully functioning, peak performance, we are going to need to model our mission in every aspect of Maine Outdoor School. So what is our mission, Maine Outdoor School? Our mission, everything that we work towards, everything that we do, is centered on personal and community resilience education. We do that operationally by embracing the triple bottom line perspective of business management, like you've heard time and time again today. Social equity, economic prosperity, and environmental sustainability. What that looks like on the ground in the forest for our students and our learners is land use history, understanding how humans have intervened and interacted with the environment, both positively and negatively, and understanding the implications of that. And then natural history, which is the study of the natural cycles of things. We have our students disassemble and then reassemble these loose parts to create an innovative vision for the future. That's the core of personal and community resilience, being able to take the loose parts and construct this innovative vision for the future, for themselves and for their communities. So we knew exactly what our mission was, and we knew exactly what kind of actions we'd take, but we wanted to make sure that our mission and our actions were aligned. We wanted to figure out how to bridge that gap. So that's kind of where this practicum ended up taking off. But first I needed to understand organizational life cycles. Every organization, just like every person, plant, animal, they go through cycles of growth and development. Over time, an organization starts off as a startup, marked by relatively slow growth, maybe limited operation. After a little bit while, it picks up steam and goes through a period of rapid growth. And this is the really exciting part of having a business. After that, you sort of business as usual, things start slowing down a little bit. And at this point is sort of a critical moment of where the organization goes next. And there's basically 3 trajectories a business can take. One would be towards renewal, either buying out other organizations, selling your organization, or rebranding and doing something entirely different. There's a steady state that the business can go through, which is sort of doing business as usual, but really trying to hone and perfect that vision. And then lastly, you could allow the business to sort of crumble apart and dissolve. Sometimes businesses only serve their function for a certain amount of time. Other times they just fizzle out because of loss of interest. For Maine Outdoor School, it's always really been my goal to get to the steady state. My background is in ecology, and I know that in ecological systems, reaching a steady state is generally most resilient. Steady state on this graph is showing a nice, perfect flat line. In reality, there's fluctuations. Upturns at some point, downturns in others, but the general effect is relatively stable. It's important to have that end goal in mind. Knowing where we're going is a pretty important thing when you're on a path. But I also knew where we were at that particular time. at the beginning of my MBA, at the beginning of this practicum. We're in the startup phase, and there's a lot to be done now to get us to that future. And what seemed probably most pressing, and most reasonably pressing as well, was incorporating. So far, up until very recently, Maine Outdoor School was nothing more than a vision of mine and Hazel's. There was nothing actionable other than a couple of classroom assignments and talking to people. Other than that, we weren't a thing. And I realized that incorporation was really going to have to be the focus of my practicum. And I believe that through incorporating, it would be the first sound step towards modeling our mission using the organization, right there at the foundational level of what organizational structure we choose. First, I had to define what does resilience actually look like for Maine Outdoor School as an organization. We'd spent a long time trying to figure out what resilience looks like for individuals, for communities. But what about for Maine Outdoor School specifically? So that was a little bit of soul searching for us. What did we actually want the organization to do? First and foremost, we wanted to be able to have Maine Outdoor School have a solid mission, far-reaching positive impact. First and foremost, we're a mission-driven organization. That's the business we're in, is the mission that we do. We wanted to be able to respond quickly to change, and that is at the core of community and personal resilience, and of course, core to our vision of resilience as well. That would be able to embrace opportunities, positive opportunities in the business environment, as well as to dodge or mitigate the implications of challenges that may come through. We wanted to be able to isolate the impact of failure. Starting up any organization has a level of risk to it. And we wanted to make sure that in the event that the worst case scenario happened, Maine Outdoor School falling apart and crumbling, that we were able to isolate the implications of that, both for ourselves as well as for our support network, our families, our friends, the community that we're serving. We wanted to be able to have healthy competition in Maine where we're hoping to do our business. I'm going to take a little bit of a sidestep on that one and describe that a little bit more. Healthy competition sounds like kind of a funny oxymoronical idea. In ecology, over hundreds of thousands of years, if you believe the science of ecology, plants have evolved. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, plants only were short, shrubby, viney things that crawled across the ground. They were all competing for one another for an unlimited resource, sunlight. Because this resource was unlimited, all a plant had to do was fold out a leaf over this way, grow a little bit further that way, maybe get a little bit taller in order to create a strategy in which it could get that necessary nutrient. Over hundreds of thousands of years, the result of that is that these plants grew taller and taller and taller and taller. Now we have forests. If it wasn't for healthy competitions, trees would not exist, and forests wouldn't exist. And for every New Englander in this room, we know that forests are central to who we are as people. So we wanted to have that sort of healthy competition, that positive growth in Maine, in the educational scene, by non-competing for critical resources that are limited and only competing for resources that are abundant. Lastly, at least on this list, we wanted to be able to redefine profit. Profit is traditionally defined, as you probably all know, as the economic advances that an organization can make. We believe that that's a fairly shallow view on the impact an organization can have. There's a profound social and ecological benefit that we can have as Maine Outdoor School. Most organizations can if they think hard about that. And we wanted to be able to be part of a movement that would allow us to contribute to redefining profit to incorporate these triple bottom line aspects. So we knew these 5 facets and boatloads more that I spared. And it was kind of a matter of really looking through the different legal entities that were available to a startup organization and deciding which one made most sense. Now, 8 months later after the start of this practicum project, we are a fully incorporated organization. As part of my practicum, I incorporated Maine Outdoor School. You can see at the top left-hand corner of our homepage, we are legally known now and forever as Maine Outdoor School L3C. Thank you. Now, L3C is, and I was doing a lot of research on this, it confuses people. Even the businesses that are currently established in LC3 in Maine still are not entirely sure why they are or what the benefits are of that. So that was part of my practicum, was figuring that out. So how does L3C status, as opposed to LLC, Legal Liability Corporation, what's the difference there? L3C is a low-profit, limited liability corporation. Not nonprofit, low profit. So how does that benefit Maine Outdoor School with trying to model our mission? First and foremost, being an L3C, we are legally mandated to adopt a social, ecological, or educational mission. We do all three. Seemed like a good fit. And we're able to make that mission central to our business. Able to respond quickly to change. Because we incorporate it as a for-profit as opposed to a nonprofit, we do not have a board of directors. That limits the chain of command within our organization. We believe that puts the people who are closest to the work being done, that puts us closer to the work being done, the people who are making the top decisions. And we believe that in the long run that will result in quicker responses to change, opportunities, challenges that we may face. Being an L3C affords us the same kind of liability protection as an LLC. So in the event that Maine Outdoor School were to flop, my assets, Hazel's assets, would be separated from that of Maine Outdoor School. That not only is good for us, it's good for our support network of friends and family who have been supporting us along the way, and certainly good for the communities which are putting so much faith on us. Providing healthy competition. Because we're going the for-profit route, a route that is not done by nonprofit educational organizations, environmental education, outdoor education, we're not competing for the limited pool of financial resources that are typically out there for such organizations, namely grants and foundations. Instead, we're able to compete almost exclusively in the realm of educational innovation, so we can perfect and hone our curriculum. By implementing that, we are competing directly with the other educational resources in the area, but we're also encouraging them to venture out into those areas and innovate in their own curriculum. Hopefully, in the long run, similar to how we have forests today, it will make Maine a thriving epicenter of educational innovation. And lastly, redefining profit. Had we incorporated as a nonprofit, we'd be pursuing some wealthy individuals to donate large sums of money to our organization. They do that because it feels good. They like that benefit, the social and ecological benefits that they can feel their money working at. By incorporating as a for-profit, we can offer investors that same level of social and environmental benefits that they'd get out of their money doing work through Maine Outdoor School. We also might be able to make a slight financial gain for them. Now that's really incorporating a triple bottom line perspective into how we measure our profit. So how does this all tie back to our vision of personal and community resilience? What we challenge our students to do is understand the context in which they live, the land use history, how humans have interacted, and the natural history, what are those natural cycles. And they can deconstruct those loose parts to create an innovative personal and community resilience vision and enact those. My practicum was all about organizational innovation. What can we do as Maine Outdoor School to further our mission? It's been a heck of a ride these past 2 years. If you had asked me even 3 years ago if I'd be taking an MBA, I probably would not have thought that that was a wise decision, but here I am. My time at Antioch has been truly a capstone to my education and has truly been a boon to Maine Outdoor School and us processing our vision. Hazel also recently graduated from Antioch, actually in the winter, so we both have had a chance to really dive into the theory and dive into the pedagogy of what it is for Maine Outdoor School to exist. I've been able to deconstruct what those pieces are, the business environment, understand them in a way that I would not have been able to do if I was not in an academic environment. And I truly believe that this practicum, incorporating Maine Outdoor School, represents this first tangible step for Maine Outdoor School, incorporating as a real organization, and from the very founding of Maine Outdoor School, sets us right on the path to modeling our mission in every aspect of our organization. Thank you.